Hi guys and welcome back to Think Student. Today we're going to be looking at when should you start revising for your GCSEs. Timing your revision and practice for your GCSE exams is vital if you want to succeed and achieve the best grades you can. In this video we'll cover everything you need to know, from when to start, what to do if you've left it too late, and the importance of practice. To start off with, we're covering when is the best time to start revising for your GCSEs. The best time to begin revising should obviously allow you enough time to cover everything you've been taught. This time will be different for everyone, but we'll try and give you some pointers to figure it out for yourself. We recommend dedicating on average 1 week of time per subject, and as most students take between 8 to 12 subjects, this would equal 2 to 3 months. This means you should start around the 10th of March. This is of course the average recommended time, but some students process information faster, meaning less preparation is required. But giving yourself a week for each subject will really help you in the long run, as it gives you enough time to cover all the content without having to stress about deadlines. So we recommend counting the number of subjects you have and turning it into weeks to find out when you should be starting. But do not fear if you started revising late, as any time spent revising is far better than sitting around doing nothing. Even if you only have one day before your exam, doing the work the night before is still going to result in a better grade than if you didn't do any preparation at all. Of course we don't recommend it, but it can sometimes happen. Next up we'll be looking at pulling an all-nighter. Trying to mash loads of information all at once may sound like a smart idea, but it's actually the complete opposite. Your brain needs sufficient rest in order to work at its maximum performance, so getting little to no sleep and being half awake in your exam is going to negatively affect your grade. As we've mentioned before with giving yourself sufficient time to revise, practicing in small periods but often will yield the best results and give your brain the best chance to store information in long-term memory. But if your test is tomorrow and you need to do work, do take the time to study, but don't stay up too late. If you're cramming, we recommend that you check out our article on things to avoid while studying to ensure that your time isn't wasted and your revision is actually effective. Our third point we'll be looking at is, can you start revising too early? As we mentioned earlier, the time you should really start revising mostly depends on how quickly you learn. Therefore, being a fast learner suggests that you can afford to start revising later. But slow learners should take some extra time to ensure they know everything. There is, however, a risk of revising too early, and the issue with this is that the time you spend may be wasted, because the parts at the beginning of your revision may not be as fresh in your memory as more recent topics, meaning there's a higher likelihood of messing them up in the exam. This is why it's a good idea to have a solidified revision timetable set up in order to maximise your learning efficiency. If you're struggling to create a revision timetable that suits your needs, we actually have a whole article dedicated to showing you how to make a simple and, more importantly, effective revision timetable, which will be linked in the description down below. And number 4, we're looking at what can you do if you've left it too late. The number one thing to do if you've left a revision too late is to not panic. The worst thing you can do in this sort of situation is panic, as being overly nervous, stressed and anxious can all lead to simple mistakes that could easily be avoided. The next step is to start revising. No matter how close you are to your exam, revision is a key factor in the success of your GCSEs, so get going. If you're the type to procrastinate and find little motivation to revise, be sure to focus on your end goal, whether it be college, overall success, or simply finishing your GCSEs. This way you'll be working towards something you want and should be able to get some momentum. It can also help to try and set short-term targets like completing a chapter from a book or revising a certain topic, which will keep you focused for the task at hand. Instead of looking at the subject as a whole, break it down into its subunits in individual lessons, therefore increasing your feeling of accomplishment. It's also very important not to over-revise. It sounds counterintuitive, but revising too much in a short period of time can actually be detrimental to your GCSE grades. And number 5, we'll look at whether you can simply just revise for the subjects you're not good at. While it's true that revising your weak points should be prioritised and things that you're confident with should come afterwards, completely neglecting those subjects in which you feel confident can make you forget information without even realising it. Therefore, you need to make sure that you still allocate adequate time for each subject, even if you're excelling, to ensure you achieve a balanced set of results. Achieving an even set of results is important, as polarised grades can look bad to colleges and universities, meaning you have a lower chance of getting into the ones that you want. Even though it's expected that some results may be higher than others, as there are some subjects that you prefer and therefore put more work into, it's still a good idea to have your results stay close to the average grade. Finally, we're going to be looking at, does the amount of revision you do really affect your results? The short answer to this is yes. The amount of revision you undertake for your GCSEs will clearly affect the outcome of your results. This is because practicing anything in life helps strengthen the connections between neurons in your brain, reducing the risk of forgetting knowledge. Try and revise as efficiently as you possibly can as to not waste any time and maximise the amount of learning you do. Because revision efficiency is a huge factor in the outcome of your results, it sadly means that you could do twice the amount of revision as your peers, but still end up with a worse grade if your technique is poor. We actually have entire articles dedicated to mastering your revision technique where we cover all the do's and don'ts over on our website, of which there will be a link to in the description down below. So before even considering when to start revising, make sure you know how to successfully handle your time so you can get the best grades with the least amount of stress. But revision and practicing questions is not the only thing that will affect your performance. Making sure you do the right things on the morning of your exam will also play a big factor in how well you do. We have another article on the 17 best things that you can do on the morning of your exam, which is well worth checking out if you'd like to maximize your capabilities. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you'd like to check out the article version of this video or any of the other articles mentioned in the video, you can find links to them down in the description below.